Okay, so quick recap of what we talked about last episode. Firstly, understanding your experience level, knowing what you can accomplish and what you cannot accomplish, finding your inspiration, finding your niche, and lastly, we touched a little bit about how planning is of the essence. Today, you're gonna have to take some of those skills you've practiced and bring it on because you're in for a ride. Hey there, welcome back. It's episode 3. So it looks like you've got a channel and it should look pretty blank right now, but don't panic. Today, we are going to be making your first YouTube video, and for those of you who already have videos up, we're going to be talking a little bit about filming and production, that kind of stage. It's a pretty intense kind of a stage because you have to be filming and you have to be working on all these different things and be preparing as much footage as you can for post-production and making sure that you don't, there's just a whole bunch of things involved with the production stage because you have to worry about, you know, gear and audio and formats and frame rates and making sure that you don't have outtakes. I actually, just before I recorded this, I had to take like 15 takes because I couldn't get that first part right. But we're gonna be talking about some of that so you don't have to panic. And I hope by the end of this video, you don't feel as lost as I did when I first started out. Again, that's kind of the point of this whole series, kind of helping you avoid the hurdles and sharing some of my experiences in the field. I just want to start off this video by saying that I'm not going to give a super solid method of filming your YouTube video because starting from here on out, starting from this stage, onto post-production and onto uploading and thumbnails and stuff like that, everybody does it differently. Everybody has their own unique way of building a YouTube video, and that's the beauty of it. It may look all the same in the final product, but everybody has a different strategy. Now, I've been filming videos for more than 3 years, and I've definitely picked up some strategies for making this production stage more efficient for myself. But before we head into the actual production, let's discuss gear. Now, last year around this time, I had the pleasure of interviewing filmmaker director Michael Chua, and he had this to say about filmmaking.
So for YouTube, I think it has allowed many people to be filmmakers. People are able to express their ideas in very different ways. Story is king. Content is king. Don't worry too much about techniques. Don't worry too much about what camera to use, what format. I mean, you could be shooting on a handphone, you could be shooting on very expensive RAID cameras. So I think those are to me inconsequential. I think what's very important is the story, that is the content that to me comes from your heart, what you want to say, what message you want to bring to people. I think that's the first thing.
Very important piece of advice from him. Story is king, the content is king. When you start, you might be going, oh boy, what camera out there? I have the hundreds of models, what mic to use, what lighting, what makeup do I have to put on, etc. Stop worrying about that. Focus on the content and slowly build your collection of gear, but don't go crazy. A YouTuber I follow has more boom arms than he can count, so even if you're gonna be investing in gear, don't go crazy on it just yet. But you will need some kind of a camera with both video and audio feature formats, but that's okay. We have little cameras in the devices we carry in our pockets. I'm sure you've heard this everywhere, in every single YouTube tutorial there is out there. I started with an iPhone 6s with a frame rate of 25 frames per hour or something like that. That's good enough. You can even use your computer webcam, but the resolution isn't the best. Your phone is the best camera if you don't want to go out and actually buy one. And it has an impressively good mic too. I would also recommend a stand or a tripod of some sort, something like this so you won't have shaky footage. In time, you may want to invest in stuff. I know I started investing in tripods and microphones and lav mics, but for now, stick with what you have. You will thank yourself later. This is for 2 reasons, and these are things that I really wish that I had known before I started my channel. Number 1, so you don't waste money if YouTube doesn't work out. Maybe a few videos in, you decide that being a content creator is not for you. So don't be just crazily investing all your money in this just yet because, you know, stuff may change. Number 2, so you can put all your focus into creating the video and not being distracted by the fancy stuff. I know that for me, gear is definitely a distraction because I have to worry about my own budget and my own spending and making sure that it's not too expensive and looking for the exact right mic or the exact right camera. In the past 4 years, all I've been using is my iPhone, and that's worked out pretty well. And it has changed over time. It has changed from an iPhone 6s to an iPhone 7 and to an iPhone 10 currently. But using an iPhone or just whatever camera you have really will help you because you can just put all your focus into creating the video and not being distracted by all the gear. Now, I don't know what type of videos you want to make. You probably thought about niches when I discussed them last episode. I sure hope you did. But here are some popular niches on YouTube and their budget ranges. Starting with number 1, a vlogger. Now this is pretty much low budget because all you need is something to shoot video and a free editing software. We'll get to that in the next episode, talking about editing, whether you want to pay for a software or a free software. There are definitely a lot of options out there, and we will be talking about that, so don't worry about that just yet. But being a vlogger is basically low budget most of the time, but in time you may want to buy a mic or a camera or stuff like that. But as a vlogger, you can just start out not spending anything at all, so that's pretty good. Moving on to number 2, travel. Pretty similar to vlogging, but it requires more gear. You may want to invest in like a camera or some tripod or a gimbal, just so that your footage doesn't look as shaky. As a vlogger, if I'm just walking around the house showing my day in the life, I probably wouldn't put a tripod or a gimbal or any fancy shots. Most vloggers, they vlog like every other day or something like that, so they can't be putting a lot of fancy stuff into their edits, so they just throw it together, and it might be like 15 to 30 minutes long. So I don't tend to watch a lot of vlogs because they tend to be very long, but it's pretty easy to make. So being a vlogger and being a travel vlogger, those are pretty low budget most of the time, and in time you may want to invest, and that goes for most niches. Now number 3, this is a pretty moderate budget. You may have to spend some money if you want to be a music YouTuber. Now, if you want to do covers, you're going to have a mic at some point, especially if you want to record electric guitar or do your research and figure out how to record directly from your amp to your computer. I'm a musician myself. I just don't release songs, but I do love to play guitar every now and then and record my own music, and I found out that this amp that I currently have, the Katana 50, I'm able to record directly to my computer by connecting a USB cable. So I can do that, but I do have to find a way to sync that audio with whatever footage I have taken by my phone, because I don't want to use my computer webcam. So if you want to be a music YouTuber and do covers and do music stuff, you may have to invest in a mic from the very beginning, because that's the way you can get the best sound out of your guitar or your piano or whatever. But you could also start out with the mic that you have on your phone. But the mic is basically the life of your video, you know. Getting good audio and music is very important. Now, number 4. And this is going to be the most high budget niche I'm going to be talking about, and the last one too, gaming. Now, whether you're on console or mobile, you're going to have to purchase a capture card like an Elgato so you can screen record your gaming. You might also spend money in game, like a lot of gamers do nowadays, with like in-game lucky draws and crates and presents and whatnot.
It's actually so easy to get crates in this game, man, because they aren't rigged whatsoever. SM10, thank you very... Self-control is strength, ladies and gentlemen. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. Obviously, I have no self-control because I just spent 45,000 COD points on a freaking gun skin that's not even a legendary.
You're also going to need a webcam, you know, a mic for audio. It's not impossibly unaffordable to do gaming, but it just requires a lot more than just your phone, and you definitely are going to spend a lot more money than a vlogger would. Now, you may not be spending money in-game, but you will still have to buy capture cards and graphic cards and stuff like that. And I haven't really touched into the niche of gaming before, so I don't really know, but I watch a lot of gaming YouTubers, so I'm not the most educated, but I know you're gonna have to spend a considerable amount of money on like PCs and stuff like that. So if you're going into gaming, just keep that in mind. So I'll post links to different gear down below, whether it be mics or tripods and stuff that I personally use. And I personally don't spend a lot of money on gear, but whatever money I spent on gear has been pretty much worth it, so I'll link that down below if you want. Nothing should block you from doing what you want to do. If there is, however, there is always a solution. Now for the actual filming, here are some things to take note of. Number 1, take out your notes. Remember we talked about notes last episode, just those little dot points that you have for a script or just some project notes that you have, whether you want this shot or that shot. I just note that down. And make sure you got everything filmed, because once you're in the post-production phase, it's very easy to take out stuff, but it's more complicated to put new stuff in. It's not impossible to put new stuff in. It's just like maybe if you talk to the camera, your shirt will look different or whatever. You want to keep continuity as much as possible. Number 2, if you've studied and evaluated other YouTubers like we talked about in episode 1 and a little bit in episode 2, you may have taken note of how they present. Some people, they talk in a slower fashion, and some people talk really fast and energetically and cut a whole lot. Probably more of the latter on YouTube. YouTube is known for having a lot of really overly energetic people. Figure out what kind of style you want, especially if it's a voiceover. If it's a time lapse or just a video with little to no talking, like what I do a lot. I used to do that a lot, especially in the drawing life show. I just had a time lapse on. And I just drew. But focus on how you can make the shots interesting. When I was working on the drawing life, I really didn't have many interesting shots. It was just like one shot the whole way, edit on a phone, and then just upload it to YouTube. But I would recommend that you just cut between 2 shots. So maybe if you're drawing, let's say you have an overhead shot, then you take out your camera and you put it on the side, so you have a side angle. To be a YouTuber, you have to have at least some interest in cinematography, so study other YouTubers. It doesn't have to be like crazy speed ramps and stuff like that, but it makes your video way more dynamic and interesting with different angles. I've heard that your video angles or your filming angles just add all the more life to your project. And that is totally true. Number 3, so finding time to film is also pretty tricky. You might have like loud roommates or family at home with you right now. You don't want them disrupting your filming. If you don't have your own room or space like me, consider asking them to be quieter for like half an hour while you film. And if that method doesn't work, maybe consider waking up a little earlier or going to sleep slightly later than your roommates or family. This is where the planning comes in. Plan your videos, write your videos, practice. Then when you have that window of time, grab it. It's gonna be really hard. Nobody told you being a content creator was easy. It's gonna be kind of stressful to find time to film if you're in my situation especially. Of course, this only applies to you if you have sound in your videos, such as like your guitar, your gaming, or your talking. If you're sitting there drawing with a time lapse on, you don't have to go through any trouble to do that. Number 4, outtakes, and more outtakes. Outtakes are so annoying. They make you doubt yourself and get you frustrated, but don't let that get to you. Don't let that get to you. Even pro musicians have bloopers on video. Check out this video by Tommy Emmanuel and Martin Taylor.
Here we go. That's okay, right? That's good. Okay. 1, 2. 1, 7, 6, 5. Okay. So this is a hard script to learn. Ready? 1, 3.
Look at them, they're just laughing it off. Be chill with yourself and you'll be able to do it. Consider writing a script if you get bloopers when you talk. To all the music YouTubers, I empathize with you. I'm a guitar player myself and I always mess up when I'm on camera, but again, don't let that get to you. You can't really edit out music, so you're gonna have to do a lot of takes unless you're an amazing musician. But when it comes to outtakes, patience is the key. Now before I go, I want to touch on my own strategy for filming videos, especially videos like these. For this particular series, I record audio and then I put B-roll on top of it, so I'm just recording with a mic and I'm putting different stuff on top, like me drawing or a video of John Mayer or stuff like that, like you saw last episode. The same goes for literally all my videos. I have something playing, you know, like me drawing when I'm talking. This is because I tend not to show my face online, at least not yet, and it's totally possible to do that, but I feel that it's just easier to connect with your audience if you show your face. But if you don't want to show your face, at least consider talking, because that definitely allows you to connect with your audience. Your audience, you know, kind of gets the idea of who they're talking to. Even if you're a gaming YouTuber, I know gaming YouTubers who just show their, you know, maybe their hand cam or their screen, and that works out perfectly fine. But what I find that brings a lot of life to their channel is their personality, and to show your personality, you kind of have to do voiceover. So public speaking, you know, I think I talked a little bit about public speaking last episode, but in terms of public speaking, you really have to have patience, and you really just have to practice a lot. Like I talked about in the last episode, you know, my first videos were so cringy that I don't even look at them anymore. I consider deleting them all the time, but I don't delete them. And it's always there just for me to evaluate myself whenever I want. You may want to take some of that cringe. I actually do a practice run, going through the whole thing just without the record button. Then what I do is I actually press the record button and try to forget I ever did, just so that I don't tense up. I need to be as relaxed and as genuine as possible, especially when I'm recording, talking like this for a really, really long time. So I hope you got something out of this. Go film that video, and we'll see you back here in the next episode on post-production, one of my favorite stages of making a YouTube video, and also one of the stages of making a YouTube video that I hate the most. So we're going to talk about why I have a love-hate relationship with editing in the next episode. It's not just going to be me in the next episode, so keep an eye out for that. Stay tuned. I hope you'll subscribe to this channel. At the time of recording this, my goal is 300 subscribers, so please subscribe, leave a like on this video, and do me a huge favor, leave me a comment down below if you gained something out of this, and I really love to hear your thoughts on this series. I hope it's inspiring you in some way. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.